A few weeks ago, I did a video covering Luke's first High Council, which was composed of a mix of 6 Jedi and 6 members of the Galactic Alliance government. Today we're going to be talking about the first full Jedi Council of Luke's New Order. Rather than retread all the information from that video, I'm going to put a link to it in the description and in one of those things on the screen if I can, so probably best to check that one out if you haven't already, because the 6 Jedi mentioned in that video were also members of the following council. At the conclusion of the Yuuzhan Vong War in 29 ABY, or after the Battle of Yavin, the mixed council was still together. However, at some point in the following 6 years leading up to the Swarm War between the Chiss and the Killiks in 35 ABY, the Jedi had formed their own Masters Council without the inclusion of the Galactic Alliance government, although the Jedi were still trying to define their relationship to the Galactic Alliance at this time. The Reconstruction of Khorasan after the damage by the Yuuzhan Vong has also included the Reconstruction Authority granting the old Jedi Temple back to the Order and restoring parts of it for their use. The first appearance of this new All-Jedi Council was in Troy Denning's Dark Nest Crisis books, where there's a meeting of the Jedi Council already in progress, so there's not a clear delineation of when exactly this transition occurred. This new council included all the Jedi that were in the previous council, whom we covered in the aforementioned video. These were, just to quickly recap, some guy named Luke Skywalker, Tresina Lobi, Kent Hamner, Silgal, Kip Durin, and Sava Sabatine. In this video, we're going to go through the other members of this Jedi Council, starting in 35 ABY and going all the way through 44 ABY, the period of the last Legends novel before the much later Legacy-era comics. The actual duration of each Master's tenure is not always entirely clear, as between the Dark Nest Crisis, Legacy of the Force, and Fate of the Jedi books, there's very rarely a full roster of the Jedi Council or any meetings given aside from the ones towards the end of the period during Fate of the Jedi Vortex. The distinction between Council member and Master, therefore, isn't always especially clear. Some members are stated to be Masters long before they show up at any Council meetings, but unlike in the prequel trilogy, everyone at the Council meetings was in fact a Master. So I've done my best during this video to make those clarifications when I can. The first new Master of the Masters Council we'll cover is one who was a constant for the period, Corran Horn. Corran was a Corellian and grandson of Nisha Halcyon, a Jedi in the original Order, and gained his own rise to prominence through his involvement as a pilot in the famous Rogue Squadron. When his wife Mirax was captured, Horn went to Luke for Jedi training to help rescue her. He also fought during the Yuuzhan Vong War, which resulted in his own promotion to the rank of Master, which was totally fair. Our second character would also serve and survive throughout this period, although she's probably one of the least recognized Masters of the New Jedi Order, a human from Chandrila named Octa Ramis. Despite her relative obscurity among the Star Wars fanbase, Master Ramis, when she does show up, was actually a pretty cool character, and was arguably one of the most powerful Jedi in terms of raw combat skill. She was often shown to have somewhat of a volatile temper, but she was always dedicated to the good of the Jedi Order. During the Yuuzhan Vong War and ensuing conflicts, she was a strong voice for the Jedi to take proactive roles in defending themselves and the galaxy alongside Kip Durin. Third, we have the final member, who was a constant throughout this period, and a fan-favorite New Jedi Order member, and Dark Forces and Jedi Knight game protagonist, Kyle Katarn. Kyle had been a rebel operative during the Galactic Civil War, and one of Luke's earliest pupils at his new Jedi Praxium. And although he did temporarily stray from the Jedi path, he ultimately returned and attained the rank of Master. The fourth and final initial new Council member was Luke Skywalker's wife, Mara Jade. Like many of the other Masters, Mara had a history with the dark side, having served as the Emperor's hand in her youth. During the Thrawn campaign in 9 ABY, when she'd aligned herself with Talon Karrde, Luke had begun to turn her towards the Jedi path, despite her hatred towards him for his role in killing Palpatine. Despite her considerable skill, she was killed in 40 ABY in a duel with her nephew Jacen Solo, who had become the Sith Lord Darth Caedus. Shortly prior to her death, another Jedi Master who we mentioned in the first video, Tresina Lobi, had also been killed by the team of Jacen and Lumaya. The next 2 members promoted to the Jedi Council, who were not part of this initial set, were some of the longest-standing New Jedi Order members, and 2 of Luke's earliest students, Cam and Tion Celisar, a husband and wife team. Although they had been masters for quite some time, their primary responsibilities had been training the youngest of the Jedi at the Jedi Praxium, especially on Ossus, while Luke and the other masters handled other issues, especially during the Vong War. While Cam was a fairly powerful Force user, whose father had also been a Jedi Master, Tion's talents with the Force were somewhat limited. She did make up for her limited Force ability, however, with a thorough knowledge of the Jedi lore, and served as the historian and librarian for the Jedi under Luke. Next was another appointee who joined the Council around the same time as Cam and Tion. Brittakil, whose name I am absolutely not pronouncing correctly, was a member of the Yuzum species, and unlike the other members of the Council, did not have any appearances in other Star Wars media before she showed up as a High Council member. She was recalled from Nal Hutta by Acting Grand Master Kenth Hamner to fill the seat left vacant when Luke was exiled from the Order by Natasi Dala. After a confrontation between Kenth Hamner in the position of Acting Grand Master and the other members ended with the death of Kenth Hamner at the hands of Saba Sibatine, Luke eventually did return to the Council, and made one final appointment that we know of. Our final Jedi Master appointment during this period was Luke's niece and the daughter of Han and Leia, Jaina Solo Fel. Jaina's promotion came during a siege within the Jedi Temple, where Jedi were attempting to expel Sith forces, and Jaina was preparing to be killed in the battle as a diversion to allow other members of her task force to escape. She was ultimately rescued, and several days later took her place as an official member of the Jedi Council. Like both of her parents, Han and Leia, she was very strong-willed, but arguably the most experienced Jedi within the Order other than her uncle, having been the only other Jedi to defeat a Sith Lord, her brother Jason. That's going to do it for this look at the Jedi Masters, though. I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's any of these characters or any other topics you'd like to see me cover in their own full video, let me know in the comments. This Thursday will be the first episode of a new series I'm doing with Eckhart's Ladder, where we'll be looking through different Star Wars books and discussing them, so keep an eye out for that. The first episode will be live streamed on his channel this Thursday, May 30th, so check the description for a link if you're not already subscribed. The VOD from that will also be put on this channel, Datapad, afterwards, and with each episode, we'll be doing them every other week. We'll be swapping off hosting duties, so I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.